We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed.
Oh,
Episode
good buddy.
Velvet Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am Anthony Velvet Hall, and joining me, as always, is the multi-talented N.E.F, the one and only N.E.F. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We got quite a few things to cover. N.E.F, how you feeling today, brother?
I am feeling wonderful. How about yourself?
I'm feeling pretty damn good, man. It's the holiday weekend.
Yes, sir.
I've eaten good. I finally got some rest, and I'm here talking to you and with everybody, and we're gonna talk about one of our favorite things, and that is professional wrestling. So we're not gonna slow down and pump the brakes and all that stuff. We're gonna get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, tonight is the night. AEW's Double or Nothing.
It's finally here.
Huh?
It's finally here.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It is finally here, and it is a stacked card, man. 12 matches. 12
Stacked. I
matches.
saw that.
It's crazy. And you got a lot of stuff going on, looking up and down the card. Before we talk about anything, we got to talk about the latest breaking news, and that is, the non-appearance or the no-show of Maxwell Jacob Friedman. There's been a lot of rumors circulating around as far as his status with AEW. A lot of people say he's not happy there. Talks about maybe him going to WWE and things of that nature. With all the rumors circulating, we don't know what's true. We don't know what's not true. N.E.F, what do you make of all this?
It's very interesting. I mean, it could be a cool angle if they're playing it as stir the pot, pull up a lot of controversy, make it seem like he's not going to attend, and then all of a sudden he shows up. But I read an interesting article earlier about how the wrestling business should treat it like the sports industry and do like trades. So maybe MJF get traded for Sasha Banks, maybe.
Wow.
But I mean, it's up in the air. It'll be a cool angle if he just comes out. And I mean, with 12 matches on the match card, there's no room for error. So they're gonna have to just roll with the punches and just put on a great show. I mean, they definitely have a lot of matches to overshadow that one, but this one was gonna be a big match.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we don't know if he's going to be there. We don't know if he's not going to be there. I've heard reports of people saying stuff like, if MJF doesn't show up, Goldberg is available.
He's too reckless.
Much too reckless, man.
He is Goldberg. I've watched him for so many years, of course, even back WCW, whatever. Like, he is so reckless in the ring. He is so hard to trust. Like, oh my gosh. Oh man. Not Goldberg.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know how true that is, man, but I would not put him in the ring with Wardlow, much less anybody. Wardlow still got a great upside, and I would really hate for his career to just be ended by Goldberg's legendary recklessness, because that guy is, I mean, he stays on 0 to 100. He starts on like 99, real easy.
But he can literally go through a concussion and then try to continue the match. It's like, I appreciate your heart, but come on, like, you're gonna hurt somebody. You're still trying to lift 300 plus pounds over your head with a concussion. Like, sir, like, no.
That is Goldberg in a nutshell, man. When you give him a little bit, maybe, just maybe, you can get a nice little moment. Not a nice little match, but a nice little moment. If you put him in there too long, chances are he's going to screw somebody up, screw himself up, and ultimately just screw the whole match up.
And that's why his first 158 matches ended quicker than a Tyson fight.
This is true. I got to agree with you on that one. So now that we unpacked all that, let's get into the match lineup for tonight. And N.E.F, I got to go up and down the list and ask you who you are picking in these matches, all right? First match we're going to talk about, the mixed trios match. Sammy Guevara, Frankie Kazarian, and Ty Conti versus TNT champion Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, and Paige Van Zant. N.E.F, who you got?
Nobody, because it's going to be an interesting match.
Oh
Gotta
God.
pause for dramatic effect. It's gonna be an interesting match. I don't have anybody for that one.
No, what? Why? Out the gate. Out the gate, man. You just messed up the buy-in. Oh man. Well, since you're not picking anybody, I'm gonna go with the team of Guevara, Kazarian, and Ty Conti
Okay.
because Guevara and Ty Conti have so much heat on them right now. And
Mm,
Frank Kazarian, he's just gonna be with him and kind of just be guilty by association. So
facts.
I think you have that match as your opener because it really doesn't have any importance. I
Mm.
think what you do is you have that match, let the bad guys go over, tap into everybody's emotions, get the fans into what's happening next, and then you know, that's the way you go. I would love to see Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page, and Paige Van Zant win, but this is Paige Van Zant's debut, so it may not happen that way. Moving on, another match: Darby Allin versus Kyle O'Reilly. What's up?
I'm always Darby Allen. He's just too interesting for me. Like, yeah, he may have a short, you know, wrestling length, just because of how explosive he is and just the risk that he takes.
Mhm.
I always go Darby Allen. Man. He's just fun to watch.
Gotcha. Another 6-man slash trios match: Death Triangle, Pac, Penta Oscuro, and Ray Phoenix versus the House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews. Who you got?
Gotta go House Black, and it's also interesting too because we talked about just how like it's so many people on the roster for AEW
Mm-hmm.
that it's one of those questions of when do you start splitting nights? Kind of like the approach WWE went when it's like you get the Saturday, you get the Sunday. I know they're not quite there yet, but
Yeah,
I just feel like all these triple threat matches and triple tag team matches, it's just really because they're overplaying a lot of hands. But I mean, it is double or nothing.
I totally agree with you on that. I was talking to somebody about that the other day, and I was talking about AEW. But I'll get into that after we get these predictions out of the way because that's another conversation that we can segue in after this. Um, we go from now. Here's the crazy thing: mixed trios match, right?
Mm.
Regular trios match, and now we go to what we in the wrestling business like to call a potential clusterfuck, and that is the Anarchy in the Arena match featuring the Jericho Appreciation Society, Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Daniel Garcia, Matt Menard, and Angelo Parker versus John Moxley, Brian Danielson, if he's able to compete, Eddie Kingston.
Is he good to go?
I don't know. I do not know. Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. you you want to make a prediction on this one?
I mean, you got to go with the healthy. I mean, that's just like the NBA playoffs. You got to go with the healthy right now. So
Right.
we don't know if Danielson is good to go. So
Right.
I got to go Jericho Appreciation Society.
Gotcha. All right. Now, moving on to more traditional multi-man matches, affectionately known as tag team matches. It's a dream match for some people. The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, taking on the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff Hardy. Prediction.
Gosh, you go with Matt and Jeff. Hardy's boys. It's just I gotta go Hardy boys. I'm not changing that. I'm not even gonna think about it. Hardy boys.
Gotcha. And I didn't make my prediction in the in the last couple matches. So real quick, I'm going with House of Black, Jericho Appreciation Society, and the Hardy Boys as well. So now we move on to the finals of both the men and women's Owen Hart Cup tournament. The first final, The women's side, former AEW Women's Champion Britt Baker versus former AEW Women's Championship contender Ruby Soho. Prediction.
Ruby Soho. And here's the reason why. I mean, I've always loved her in ring performance, her style, and
Right.
everything. And I kind of just also like what she said lately about the whole women's division inside AEW. She made a comment about AEW being a freeing experience and support
Mhm.
Sasha Banks and Naomi. I
Right.
mean, hey, she get to the top, then hey, I like Ruby Soho on this one.
All right. And I'm gonna go with Ruby Soho as well because she's had her moments in AEW, and as I
Mm,
said last week, AEW is more about moments than storylines to me. She's had her moments, but she hasn't had the breakthrough moment yet.
mm.
And if she's ever really gonna break through, this is it. This is her opportunity right here. This is an opportunity for her to show that signing her wasn't a mistake. That's pretty much it. The men's final: Adam Cole versus
Joe,
ROH
Joe,
World Television Champion Samoa Joe.
Joe. Samoa Joe, man. Samoa Joe. You don't take that man all the way here and then he don't take it. Samoa Joe. That's my guy.
Yeah, I'm hearing people saying that Samoa Joe is going to be the is going to be the next guy to challenge for the AEW World Championship. Um, for me, this is a tough one. This is a pick 'em because I'm trying to look at things like who would win, who would lose. Um, I don't see any reason to put Adam Cole over at this point. I really don't. So for that reason alone, I think Samoa Joe will win. But at the same time, I don't want him to become a challenger for the AEW championship because with him holding a Ring of Honor championship, the World Television Championship, and
Mm.
then just trying to really reestablish the identity of Ring of Honor, it's like the lines will get blurred.
Mm.
So I hope that if Samoa Joe wins the Owen Hart Cup tournament final, that's all that happens. I mean, like that's just me being real with you. I would be all for him getting the AEW World Title shot if he didn't have another championship.
But again, does that dismiss or diminish the whole winning this whole tournament thing like we talked about last week as far
Right.
as like it being something that you can like a stepping stone to the next level or to
Right.
a challenge or something like are we just you want it move on I don't know on that one.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. The match we talked about earlier, if it happens,
If it
or an
happens,
MJF.
I hope it happens. I mean, it's they developed such a great storyline with it outside of everything else that's just kind of sporadic and things that they're just putting together. Like y'all developed a nice storyline to go with this to build the right tension, to put it in the right place at the right time for this to not go through tonight. That's going to be huge.
Yeah. So who's winning?
I got to give it to Warlow. I mean, it's they're going against MGF right now. Like, I mean, especially if he's going to look to go somewhere else or he's not happy, it could be the old Vince McMahon mentality of just screw you out of it. You take the L and you just go walk and disappear and nobody see you for months until you pop back up on any other program.
Right. I got you. I understand exactly what you're talking about. Um, yeah, that would definitely work. Hey, got to give a shout out to my buddy Mike Keaton. Mike Keaton is the host of Two Guys Wrestling Podcast. I was a guest on their podcast a while back, man, and this guy is very passionate about pro wrestling. If you are able to find it, I know they have a Roku channel that they're on. Right now, immediate knowledge of where to see it slips my mind, but if I had it, I'd definitely tell you. But go look for Two Guys Wrestling Podcast. Mike, if you want to give information as to where people can find you and find your podcast, please be sure to leave it in the comment section. I'll be more than happy that you shared it with everybody. All right. Now, moving back to these matches here. Now we get into the meat of the matches. What we
Hmm.
probably would call the big four. First of them, Jade Cargill defending the TBS championship against Anna Jay.
I gotta go Anna J. Only on shock value.
Wow. Hmm.
Only on shock value. I'm just a fan. Okay, I'm just a fan. Give me a shock value moment. Everybody can't just win their championship back. Give me shock value. Anna
Yeah.
J. There it is.
If that were to happen, that would definitely be shocking. It definitely would. But I'm gonna go with Jade. I'm gonna go with Jade. Um, the AEW Tag Team Championships,
Oh, buddy.
another potential clusterfuck. Triple
I'll
threat
take this
matchup.
clusterfuck. I will
Huh?
take this. I will take this clusterfuck.
Okay, so triple threat tag team championship match, or three-way for the AEW tag team titles. Defending champions Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus take on Team Taz's Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs, and they will also be challenged by Keith Lee
Whew.
and Swerve Strickland. Prediction.
I got Jurassic Express maintaining. I do, and I'm looking forward to it. And the reason why I say I will take this clusterfuck of a match is because it's going to be highly entertaining. It's going to be fast paced, and I'm looking to see some stuff we haven't seen from them. I think that everybody's going to be able to elevate each other in this match, and this is probably one of the ones that I'm looking forward to.
Okay, you say it's going to be high paced. You want to see some stuff we never seen. Couldn't you say that about the 9 matches we talked about before this one? Because
Yes
this
and
is
no.
AEW we're talking
I
about.
mean, it's AEW, but I'm saying to put all 3 teams in there, and let's remember Jurassic Express is the ones that wanted this match.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be high octane. I'm here for it. I'm here for this cluster.
Yeah, I think Jurassic Express will retain mainly because everybody's wondering what's going on with Jungle Boy, and they're probably tuning into this one to see if we're leading to a breakup, and if this is the match that does it. I don't think they're gonna pull the trigger on that just yet. I see Jurassic Express retaining. So now we got the final 2 matches, singles championship matches. Thunder Rosa defending the AEW Women's Championship against Serena Deeb. Prediction?
Champ retains. Thunder Rosa. That's
I
why I
agree.
said everybody can't retain their belts. But I take Thunder Rosa.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, Serena Deeb makes a hell of a challenger. Hell of a
Oh,
challenger.
for sure.
But I don't think she's gonna be I don't think she's gonna get the rub tonight. And finally, this is the big one. It's the main event for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Hangman Adam Page defending against the Second City Savior himself, CM Punk. All right, N.E.F. Prediction.
It is finally time for CM Punk to get his reign. It's just time. The man has put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep in mind that it's been 7 months since his return. He said that he didn't want any easy way in or easy way out. He said
Right.
that he will fight, and he's done just that.
Right.
He's performed every week. Ratings has gone up every
Mhm.
week because of CM Punk. It is time for him to just take his seat at the top of AEW, and I think it's going to create a resurgence of people from his generation or maybe other people that want to come back. But I think it's CM Punk's time, and yeah, it's going to be a big match. I can tell you that.
Yeah. I totally agree. Last week I would not have agreed, but to be honest with you, in our conversation that we had last week with Rudy Gonzalez, shout out to Rudy, we talked about how underwhelming this title reign has been.
Right.
This title reign has just been okay, the guy's got a belt. That's it. That's
Right.
it. That's pretty much been the gist of it. Moment makers that have come and gone through AEW. CM Punk's arrival in AEW may have been the biggest moment in AEW history, without question.
Shot up to a
So
million
have
views.
that happen and not give him the rub, not to mention the ramifications that could come from it, him
Yeah,
being champion. Like you will actually have an AEW champion that interests you,
right.
AEW champion who, when he gets on the television, you're like, okay, not only do I like this guy, but he's the AEW champion. Like CM Punk is the wrestler that will actually make people give a damn about the AEW World Championship. Because
Oh,
right now,
immediately.
nobody cares. It was cool that Jericho had it when he first won it. When Moxley won it, it was just like, okay, you
All
know,
right.
you know. After Moxley lost it, it was like, okay, and it was Kenny Omega that he lost it to.
I mean, how long has Adam Page had this belt? We talked about it last week. I can't even remember the number, but it's Roman Reigns' number. Like
Yeah,
he's had it for forever, and he hasn't
he
been
had a
the biggest draw.
long, boring ass reign.
Right.
He has. It's been horrible. And like right now, CM Punk winning that championship is the best thing for that title. Um I would not be surprised if somebody took to the arena a sign that says, if Page wins, we riot. Like
Right.
for real. Because his reign has just been that bad. And it's not a knock on Adam Page.
Right.
Like it's just a knock on, these titles that they have in AEW are just being overwhelmed by these moments.
Mm.
Just being overwhelmed by these moments. And so now it's just like the only reason they have championships is because wrestling organizations have championships. But there are
Right.
very few reigns that have occurred in AEW that people have actually cared about. And I've yet to see a world title reign in AEW that has really made me go, oh man, this is for the AEW World Championship, with the exception of the fact that they were trying to crown the very first one with
Yeah.
Jericho and Adam Page. After that, nothing.
I
So
mean, but you said it though. AEW is all about moments. They're not about the whole storylines and building something up. I think that this has a great build to it, but it's only really because of CM Punk. Like he's sold a lot of these promos to even let him just up him a couple times. So it's like you built the right momentum going into this match, but when you talk about leader or put somebody in the forefront of everything, CM Punk is the person that you want in front.
I totally agree. I totally agree. Well, and just talking about, I think it's a big card. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. As a wrestling fan, I think that a singles match between two big, strong, believable guys in the ring, considering that you're gonna have all this spotty stuff going on all night long, is the one thing that's missing. Um, I would have loved to seen Powerhouse Hobbs and Keith Lee wrestle, you know,
Mm.
because right now that's pretty much like your only choice. Wardlow's doing his thing with MJF, Luchasaurus, even though he's not typically a power guy, he's a really big luchador, and he's half of the tag team champions. That's one thing I think is missing in AEW: some good raw bone, bare knuckle, believable wrestling
Mm.
instead of a bunch of trapeze artists. It's cool that they have a lot of people doing stuff, and I can appreciate that because I do like AEW. But we talking about 12 matches where everybody's gonna be, can you top this all night long?
All night. Double
All
or
night.
nothing.
Yeah, it's pretty much gonna be the gist of it, man. So give me your thoughts on that.
No, I hear you on that. And again, it just kind of goes back to just not having the right storylines. They want to be different. They want to be acrobatic. They want to just, take you out your seats every pay-per-view, so I get what they feel is going to draw you. And then they had these big matches of the tag team championship and the triple threat and then CM Punk and all that stuff. So I think, AEW is just doing the best they can right now. And I think that that's just more so of just being over rostered. And now you're talking about bringing more in, which is that callback to being over rostered, overpopulated in AEW. So on that, what was the conversation you had about that? Or do you want to go to break and then come back and we're gonna go into all that?
Just I mean, No, we talk about it now, man, because I want to bring this segment to an end. So I just want to cover this briefly about the roster being saturated and all that kind of stuff. Um, I just think that right now, I'm looking at the effects of what's eventually going to happen. Sooner or later, AEW is going to have to discard these people because they're not going to have enough YouTube shows to put these guys on. Because eventually, you look at all these guys, you got like what 50 something wrestlers between 12 matches, and
Yeah.
all those guys can't fit on Dark or Dark Evolution. So eventually, Tony Khan's probably going to have to cut his losses and get over his incessant need to embarrass WWE and save some money. He's going to have to let some of these guys go. The only saving grace for any of these guys is going to have to be somebody on the indie scene or a couple of somebodies on the indie scene that are going to be able to put together a really good show.
But is this not like reminiscence of like, I hate to say it, but like the Eric Bischoff with WCW when it
Yeah,
became
very.
such a NWO and all that, and it just became so like you knew you had to let people go, but then
Right.
you got so greedy that it was like you hold on to everybody because you didn't want them to go to our to the back to WWE or to help promote somebody else. So is it going to become a problem where they just try to hold on to everyone and you're still expanding? Now you're talking about bringing more people in. Like you eventually have to start splitting up nights. It needs to be more nights. It needs to be double weekend or big weekend pay-per-views, Saturday,
Yeah.
Sunday kind of thing. Like it's no way that you can continue like this.
I mean, well, another solution could be the fact that before Ring of Honor went under, everybody who was there got released from their contracts. So maybe some of the people in AEW's roster can populate this organization once it gets rolling back to a standalone type of deal or whatever.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. All right,
See
ladies and
what
gentlemen.
happens.
Yeah, we've covered a lot, man. We've covered a lot in this first segment. It's actually going on pretty long, but when we get back, we're going to talk about some other stuff. All right. Y'all stay tuned and be sure to interact with us in the comment section. All right. This is the Planet Velvet Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah.
Log on to StallionSquad.com today and use discount code Velvet10 to get yourself some great savings on premium fitness gear, no matter what your fitness level may be. Stallion Squad. Squad up.
Masters of Ring Entertainment comes to Truist Point Stadium, home of the High Point Rockers, Saturday, June 11th. See Hall of Famers Kurt Angle and the Steiner Brothers, AEW Santa El Zero Miedo, Lucha Legend Juventud Guerrera, Killer Cross and Scarlet, TJP, Terry Runnels, Matt Taven, a Battle Royal, and more. That's 4 to 7 p.m., 7 p.m. Delta time. Go to morewrestling.com.
Hey guys, welcome back
Was
to
my
the.
mic not muted?
Huh? What happened?
I almost died on water. Was my mic not muted?
Well, I mean, they didn't hear you because the commercial was playing. Yep. Shout out to Bambi Weevil. Got to give her a shout out, most definitely. The super promoter, the visionary, the head of Masters of Ring Entertainment. Their show will be happening in a couple of weeks in High Point, North Carolina, as you just saw the commercial with a lot of great up and coming wrestlers, awesome legends, so many people. Be sure to go and check that out. They'll be crowning a brand new more wrestling heavyweight champion, a brand new more wrestling women's champion. Those championships in the past were held by Cowboy James Storm. Got a really funny story about him I have to share with y'all, and Victoria, respectively. So now those championships are vacant and they'll be determining new champions. All right. So we just got finished talking about AEW and championship. So now we got to talk about a championship change that we didn't get to last week. And that is the Usos, Jimmy and Jay Uso, capturing the unified WWE Tag Team Championship over Team RK Bro. Now, one of the questions that N.E.F brought up more than anything else was, how does this title change affect the brand extension? N.E.F, give your thoughts on that.
I mean, that's they've done this how many times now? We've done this whole draft night, Raw, SmackDown. This has been twice. I feel like it's been more than that. Like how many times have we divided these brands?
It's been twice.
Um, all for it to lead back up to Survivor Series. We somehow do a draft before Survivor Series, and then we're back to a brand split. So here's what's interesting about the Usos winning for me personally.
Mhm.
I thought, or I at least felt like they were going to drag this on, that this was just too much of a big match for them to have on just a regular cable network, that they were going to just disqualify and then redo this all at Hell in a Cell.
Mhm.
So kudos to WWE for pulling the hat trick on us. But with that being said, I also feel like, of course, unifying the tag team championships, which we knew that was going to happen, is that yes, that's the end of the brand split until a month before Survivor Series in November.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Just hearing the rumors and everything, people talking about the brand split being over. This brand split was drastically different, quite a bit different from the last brand split that they did back what was like 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, it has. It's been that long, man. It was right after, let's see. Well, it happened, I want to say WrestleMania, damn, was it 19? I want to say it was a Triple H wound up winning the championship. And then the Undertaker, let's see, Triple H won it, Hogan won it, then the Undertaker won it. And then after the Undertaker won it, I think that's when they did the brand split. And they were under the impression that the Undertaker was going to be the guy to go to both brands and defend the championship. Um, I'm not quite sure how everything played out, but eventually that's what led to the creation of the World Heavyweight Championship and all that kind of stuff. But what I do remember fondly about the first brand split were branded pay-per-views, and they were actually pretty good. When they had branded pay-per-views and they start running branded house shows, you could see the difference in the brands. Like you really could see it. So that's one of the things that was really missing in comparison to this brand split. I don't think a lot of people were really sold on this brand split. I really don't. I think you just saw two shows, two set of wrestlers, but there was not an allegiance from one brand to the other, because you actually had people like, man, SmackDown's a better show. No, Raw's a better show back then. Now it's just like, okay, well, WWE red, WWE blue. That was just pretty much it. So, I could kind of see the brand split coming to an end, and I kind of hate it because I was hoping for the best with it, but
I
I
think
don't
there's
know.
just a shift. There's a shift in talent too, and we talk about just how Vince is going to always be super competitive. So when he sees somebody on his tail, he'll immediately shake up the industry. So with AEW just kind of coming to even more of a rise, I think that the CM Punk thing really gets under his skin. I think bringing the brands together, um, going away from the whole brand split. You've had tons of injuries. I mean, even with like Big E and it's I think that the brand split they'll do away with that for a while. Of course, they'll go back, but we also got to gear up and be ready for Roman's exit as well. So put all the focus, all the attention, and he's always went against the grain when it comes to the fans wanting something. As far as Roman getting his push and the Usos getting their push, like he's always gone against the fans anyway when it came to him, and I think it's paid off so far. I mean, even when they try to push Roman over with Rock, like it was like they're not buying it, but Vince is gonna always just kind of keep pushing that until you just take it.
Yeah. I just, I mean, one of the main reasons I think the brand split nowadays is not as good as it was all those years ago is very simple. WWE is reprogramming everybody to wrestle the same damn way. That's pretty much it. The idea of getting people from different sports who have absolutely no wrestling background whatsoever, sticking them in a warehouse, telling them all to do the same damn thing is hard to differentiate one person from the other, with the exception of physical appearance. When you go to the independent wrestling organizations, guys on the West Coast don't wrestle like guys in the South. Guys in the Midwest don't wrestle like the guys in the Northeast. And so, with these new people, it's just like you're reprogramming everybody. And they may have done that with all the other people that they brought in. But the fact of the matter is, you're kind of disrespecting independent wrestling and what they've learned, as if to say, you've made it to the big show. Now nothing you do matters. And, if that's the show you want to have, God bless you. But the fact of the matter is, you see what's happening. Everybody's going and leaning more toward alternatives. People want wrestling that looks like wrestling, that looks different, where everybody has something about them that's different besides the gear they wear or the color of their hair. And I think that's what hurt the brand extension more than anything else this time. So now that this happens, do you think that eventually, if they do decide to just do away with the brand extension, do you see massive roster cuts in the future?
I mean, I believe so. I mean, we got to even look at what the numbers are doing now and just how things are moving. I mean, of course, WWE is the top brand or the top tier, and then you have the other promotions after that. But just looking at what I saw earlier about like the Money in the Bank having to be moved from the Allegiant Stadium to the MGM Grand, like, making these big moves where it's like you're not selling as many tickets as you were, is kind of, foreshadowing, or at least, saying something, that you're not selling out these huge arenas right now, and everybody's back outside. So,
right. I'm glad you said something about that, because I actually had the Money in the Bank ad to run. I was going to do between segments, but since you brought it up, might as well just show it to everybody right now. All right, here's WWE's brand new Money in the Bank trailer. All right, check it out.
I'm not shy, I'll say it. I've been picturing you naked. I'm a little faded. You look like a fucking painting. Me and your girlfriend playing dress up in my house. I gave your girlfriend cunnilingus on my couch. She cute, kawaii, hentai boobies that excite me. I think she really likes me. As politely can I?
Okay, I'm sorry.
what song is that? I didn't have time to spot it.
I have no idea, but I heard Tony Langus, and I was just like, "Oh, damn! Did she say that for real?"
Right. I was like, hey.
Yeah. So
that's a huge. Now that's Allegiance is huge, though. I mean, like, let's not get it twisted. Like, that's a main event WrestleMania kind of stadium. So I'm not surprised that ticket sales wasn't doing well. For Money in the Bank, I mean, Money in the Bank is just not a huge draw. You're talking about Vegas, so yeah.
I was looking at a story because I wanted to find out a little more about everything that's going on with Money in the Bank, and I came across this story about the venue change. The source for this story actually happens to be comicbook.com. All right, so here's the story in a nutshell. WWE initially announced last year that the 2022 Money in the Bank pay-per-view would be taking place inside Las Vegas's Allegiant Stadium, the same venue that hosted SummerSlam 2021 in late August. However, news broke on Thursday that the company opted to move the show from the football arena to the MGM Grand Arena. The move was announced via an email sent out to fans on Thursday afternoon. The reason for the move was not given. but the show will keep its July 2nd date. SummerSlam 2021 brought in an attendance of 51,000, and the stadium has an expandable capacity that can reach as high as 72,000 people. Meanwhile, the Garden Arena fits roughly 17,000. Now, here's a very interesting note. The last major pay-per-view to take place inside the venue, guess what it was?
Probably a Mayweather fight.
Nah. AEW's Double or Nothing 2019 brought in roughly 11,000 fans.
Oh, wow.
Ain't that some mess?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. So
17,000 max. I mean, is that a legit source? I haven't seen much of anything else. I guess I would have to look at like tickets or something. I don't know.
That's crazy. But I mean, it's nuts, man, because the idea behind all this that happened, WWE was supposed to be putting out a set of stadium shows.
Right.
They're going to be putting out a bunch of stadium shows, eventually leading to the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. So every show that they were going to put on, as far as pay-per-views, were supposed to be stadium shows. But apparently, it's not selling like they thought they would, and they moved to a much more intimate setting.
Well, here's the thing, because I mean, it is officially changed, of course, on WWE.com. Here's the thing. So you're saying max for the MGM Grand is about 17,000, correct?
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Max in the Allegiant Stadium was up to about 72 on expansion, so about 50 roughly. So you were able to move this event into an MGM Grand at 17,000 max, which means you sold less than 17,000 tickets before that move was made. Good gracious.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And the pay-per-view, I mean, like, they must be predicting that they aren't going to sell that much anyway, because we're talking about a pay-per-view that's in July. All right.
Right.
Hell in a Cell is next week.
Yep.
So, I mean, and just here's the crazy thing. I got to ask you this question, N.E.F. The biggest WWE pay-per-view news of the week was the venue change for Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
Does that lend to any thought that the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view coming up next week is underwhelming?
Yes and no. I think Hell in a Cell has more to kind of offer as far as the match card. Mm-hmm. But Money in the Bank, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know.
You just don't know, huh?
I just don't know. I mean, Hell in a Cell, I think, is going to be more entertaining. I think we've gotten to the point with Money in the Bank where it just becomes just this whole somebody wins it and then cash in at random times when we don't want that or when we're not expecting that. And I mean, who won it last year? Like, I mean, it's been underperforming for the past 2 years now. So, yeah.
So, I totally agree. Hey, everybody, we're going to take another break. And when we get back, I'm going to speak at length. Well, I'm not going to take too much time, but I'm going to talk about the modern day National Wrestling Alliance. All right. So stay tuned. This is the Planet Velvet Pro Wrestling Podcast.
When you see your wife, how does she make you feel?
She's peaceful.
You
Just want to say
Hey,
shout out,
everybody.
shout
Huh?
out to 480 Films. They have a new movie coming out next month, June 21st, called Illicit. It's gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Shout out to the whole 480 crew, T Ty and Rod. Shout out to everybody that has had a hand in making those wonderful, wonderful movies. Be sure to check out all of their offerings on Amazon Prime and Tubi. They got quite a few of them, so it's plenty of them. There's a lot of them, and they stay working. They stay working.
Yes,
They stay
sir.
working. I've had the pleasure and the honor of being part of quite a few of their movies. uh, look forward to doing more business with them. It's always fun, always a fun deal. So now I want to switch gears and talk about a wrestling alternative, and that alternative is the modern day National Wrestling Alliance. Um, we some of us grew up watching wrestling 605 on Saturdays and stuff, and when that happens, there was always sit in front of the TV and watch wrestling with your family and all that. It was always fun. And the NWA was pretty much what happened with that. That's what you watched at 605. In probably the last, I would say, God, maybe 30 years, the NWA has gone through so many changes, man. Um, WCW seeded from them and they were trying to figure out who they were. They were running mostly in the Northeast. They made a tournament to crown a new NWA champion that was won by Shane Douglas. He threw the belt down and declared the ECW championship, the ECW World Championship. And that's what started the whole extreme revolution in the United States with ECW. After that, the NWA just kind of floated around through some independent organizations. Eventually, Jeff and Jerry Jarrett got a hold to it, and they formed NWA TNA that eventually saw TNA seed from the NWA and eventually become today's Impact Wrestling. The organization was bought by a lawyer by the name of Bruce Tharp. He took it and promoted it over in Japan and eventually became an on-air personality. And recently, in recent years, it was bought by Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins. And so I was just kind of I was trying to figure out, what would become of the NWA now. Because in all that time, the only thing the NWA was basically a tool that somebody used to promote an individual brand. Like, we just gonna ride the NWA for all it's worth, and then when we finally build our brand up, we're gonna leave it alone. And that's what a lot of people did. But nowadays, the NWA has something that it probably hasn't had in the last 30 years, and that's its own identity. I watch the NWA a lot on YouTube. I watch the shows on Saturday mornings. I watch them on Saturday afternoons. They got some really good independent guys out there doing their thing. Guys I've had the pleasure of sharing ring and locker room with. Their champion right now is Matt Cardona, who you may remember as Zack Ryder in WWE, the internet champion, Long Island IZ. And he
Hmm.
was running his whole heel thing with Chelsea Green and Mike Knox and some other people. There are some names that are floating around there that you may or may not be familiar with. Trevor Murdoch, former WWE Tag Team Champion with Lance Cade, rest in peace. Um, Nick Aldis, who was the former Magnus, former WWE Women's Champion Mickey James is there. Um, Medusa Michelli, who some of you may know as Alundra Blaze, is working backstage along with Raven. Old school fans will remember Ricky Morton from the Rock and Roll Express. He's wrestling, and now his son is wrestling, Kerry Morton, and another son of a former NWA champion, um, Colby Carino, who's a son of Steve Carino. Old school fans may remember Austin Idol. He's there running the place. Tyrus is there. My favorite tag team in wrestling right now, and I say it with the utmost confidence, is a big raw bone team that will punch you in the mouth and will talk junk to you about it. And they are the Fixers. The Fixers. Jay Bradley, the boss Jay Bradley, and Wrecking Ball Legursky. Love those guys. I love them. I love watching two big guys just hit somebody in the mouth. But those guys, Sion, Mims, I could go on and on and on talking about those guys. But I just wanted to take this opportunity to show some love to the modern day National Wrestling Alliance. I get a chance to watch it every chance I get. I watch it. I watch it in the gym. I watch it over there on my sofa, on my big TV, and all that kind of stuff. I love having the opportunity to just watch the National Wrestling Alliance. So, have you had a chance to check it out?
That's historic, and I haven't. But all those names, I mean, geez, like, whew, like
Yeah.
that's a list right there. I mean, Mickey James alone, you could have stopped right there for me. That was
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's so
yeah,
many.
that's dope. I mean, NWA. I mean, come on, like that's the stomping ground. That's the beginning of it all. Kind of, even after a lot of the promotions from when you're talking about from what you may know, for them to kind of research that, that's awesome. And who you say own it now?
Billy Corgan, the lead singer of the Smashing Pumpkins.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
definitely
man.
checking that out.
It's so much fun, man. Just this weekend they had a match between the masked Scion, the guy who wears a silver mask. The running storyline is that he's a guy who's angry because his father abandoned him, and then ultimately we find out that his father may or may not be the Universal Heartthrob Austin Idol, and he just had a match with a guy by the name of Alonzo. From what I hear, Alonzo is like internet famous. Up to this point, I never heard of the guy, but man, they put on a good match this weekend. I'm talking about like a real solid match. It wasn't flippy. It was equal parts bare knuckle fighting, equal parts technical. It was just everything you could think of in a match. Shout out to Natalia Markova, Kiera Hogan, Genocide. The women are doing their thing. They have they have tag team championships. The Hex are the women's tag team champions. Homicide, who a lot of you may remember from Ring of Honor, is the current NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion. Jax Dane is the national champion. A lot of guys passing through. Chris Masters, the masterpiece from WWE, he's there. If you want to talk about a real list of professional wrestlers and an organization that knows what to do with everybody they have, be sure to check out the NWA. NWA Power is replayed, I think, every Friday on YouTube, but it's shown on the Fight Network every Tuesday at 6:05. And a brand new episode of NWA USA premieres on YouTube every Saturday at 12 noon. So if you want to watch some really good wrestling, not saying that there isn't anywhere else, watch that. Watch the NWA. All right. So outside of WWE and AEW, N.E.F, do you have any other wrestling that you watch?
It was TNA Impact for a minute, and then I kind of just got a little sidetracked. So, I kind of just been focusing on what's developing with WWE and AEW. So
Right. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of independent wrestling because I'm a lifelong independent wrestler.
yeah,
But I just
most definitely.
I backed away from the business mainly because you get in a locker room full of people who know a little and everybody thinks they know a lot, and then when you go home and try to watch wrestling, you don't enjoy it as much because you're just like everybody in the locker room trying to figure it out. I don't want to figure out wrestling. I want to sit down and watch it and let it entertain me. So that's pretty much what I do with that whole situation. Yeah, man. We're gonna take another break and we'll come back and talk a little more wrestling with you guys. All right. This is the Planet Velvet Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Masters of Ring Entertainment comes to Truist Point Stadium, home of the High Point Rockers, Saturday, June 11th. See Hall of Famers Kurt Angle and the Steiner Brothers, AEW Penta El Zero Miedo, Lucha Legend Juventud Guerrera, Killer Cross and Scarlet, TJP, Terry Runnels, Matt Taven, a Battle Royal, and more. That's 4 to 7 p.m., 7 p.m. deadline. Go to morewrestling.com.
All right, N.E.F. Got a question for you. Do you care about who's Intercontinental Champion right now? Or do you care about the belt at all?
I don't care about the belt at all. Uh, and what's sad about it is that I actually like Ricochet. Like I always thought he was just super talented, super acrobatic. Just his stamina in the ring is, and he puts on great matches. But it's at that point of what's the point of this belt anymore?
Yeah, I agree. Do you think the same of the United States Championship?
I really wish they would have gave it to Cody, but I know Cody has a bigger, stake in the game right now. So I knew that would just water him down a little bit to give him that belt. But yeah, this Austin Theory kid. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's talented, annoying, but he has the perfect gimmick for the time that we're in with cell phones, selfies, and all that stuff. Like that's a great gimmick that gets over, but he'll have it for another year or so. So I'm not really worried.
Yeah, I can see him being a long term. I think they're going to invest in him like they invested in Randy Orton.
Really?
Because he's so young, man.
Yeah.
He's so young. You could probably get a 20-year career out of that guy.
I was thinking more of nah. I won't say Cena, but he won't get over as much as Cena. But he's definitely taking him under his wing as much.
I got you. I can feel you on that. The Judgment Day. If they were to add a fourth member, who would you want that fourth member to be?
Rito Fools in Judgment Day?
I didn't hear what you say. Who's
in Judgment Day?
Led by Edge with Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, I just wanted you to say their name. It's. I think they're good where they're at. I would love. Where's Bray Wyatt?
He's retired. Well, he got released, and everybody's just trying to figure out where he's going to land if he decides to come back to professional wrestling.
Oh gosh, he is such a piece, and something that the Judgment Day has been able to accomplish because Edge is just he knows how to push that angle. You're talking about pushing the dark side of things, like Edge knows how to go there. So there was nobody else that could really do that other than Edge.
Right.
I think they're good where they are. I wouldn't oversaturate that because then you take away the tag team aspect of it, of Damian Priest and Edge. But who would I add? I think they're good where they are. I wouldn't add anybody else. When
I think of like rosters and I think of, I guess, stables, I always think of the Four Horsemen, and I always think four is like the magic number. So I'm like you. I think right now what they have is perfect. But I think if they bring somebody else in, it's got to be somebody who can, I don't know. Do they bring in another female competitor? Do they bring in a veteran? Do they bring in somebody who has a big upside? I mean, like at this point, I think for now they shouldn't bring anybody else in. I think maybe in time when nobody's expecting a fourth person to come in, they bring in somebody. Because I think then you'll get the biggest reaction. And you'll probably make a much better decision on who to bring in anyway.
If they could get Wyatt back, that'd just be.
I'm kind of on the fence about that one. And the main reason is because I can't see Bray Wyatt being subservient to anybody.
Right.
I could see him being a leader. but I can't see him.
Yeah, well, we know Edge is not going to be around for long. Like, I
Yeah, I
mean,
know that.
he's so you wouldn't bring Bray Wyatt back in like a Ezekiel, kind of situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't cut his beard and bring him back as a clean cut. Like, no, he would come as he left. So, the dark side of things, I think that would be a good angle. But because Edge, I mean, he probably will get through to WrestleMania, but I believe after the next WrestleMania, that'll be it for Edge.
I got you. All right, guys. We have been with you guys for a wonderful, wonderful hour of professional wrestling talk. N.E.F, do you have any parting shots about anything as it relates to pro wrestling?
I have what?
Any parting shots?
Not really, man. I'm excited for tonight. Double or Nothing. I'm looking for some real entertaining matches. It'd be a great way to celebrate this whole Memorial Day weekend, and shout out to all the troops. We won't see you guys until next week. So come Monday, Memorial Day tomorrow. So shout out and much love and appreciation for all that you do and all the service. So yeah, other than that, tonight's gonna be awesome. Make sure y'all watch AEW Double or Nothing.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see what's going to happen there. Everybody. Oh, N.E.F, tell everybody where they can find you online.
You can find me on Facebook, Jesse I am N.E.F Miller. That is Facebook, Jesse I am N.E.F Miller, or Instagram 480mg N.E.F.
Nice. And as you know, you can find me Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok at Velvet478, as you see right down there.
You got a TikTok?
Yeah, man, I got a TikTok. Man. Do you have a TikTok?
I do, and don't at the same time.
We got to work on that. Shout out to all the men and women of the United States military who made the ultimate sacrifice. And, I can't talk about that without talking about a guy who I actually used to live around the corner from, a guy who gave his life for this country, Staff Sergeant Alex French IV. Shout out to you, man. Rest in peace. 2 wonderful children of his have just recently graduated high school. They'll both be attending college. His son, Alex French V, and his daughter, Alexis, they'll both be attending college. So shout out to them. They are definitely doing their dad's memory a great service. And shout out to his family as well. That is it for us this week, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to join us next week on the Planet Velvet Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am Velvet. That is N.E.F. That is N.E.F. There we go. Got the whole, okay, we got it going.
That's right.
That's N.E.F. All right. We will see you guys next week, all right?
Enjoy your holiday.